Welcome back, it's Meredith. Are we ready for another booktuber to do the mid-year book tag? So I'm actually friends with the co-creator of this tag. So I'm basically a celebrity. So Ellie from Elle Grey Books is the co-creator of this tag. Go subscribe to her, go support her. She's so lovely, she's delightful, she's a sweetie. And then the other creator is Chemi, who doesn't really post, but I'll still link the channel because why not? So yeah, we probably all know what this is. We probably all know the drill. Also, there's some dead leaves on this plant that I should probably take off. So yeah, this is just a check-in of how the reading's been going so far during the year. I will get into the questions, but I'm just going to start with a little overview. As of today, I've read 150 books, which is kind of perfect that during the mid-year book tag, I've read 150 books. That's like a nice number. I think it's too much. Honestly, I usually prefer to read less and take it in more. But this first half of the year has been really stressful. We bought a house, so the whole process looking for a house is stressful. And when you get an offer accepted, the bank takes forever, the real estate's bullying you, and then you get into the house and you start to panic. Have I done something wrong? Have I ruined my life? Have I bought a house that's going to fall apart on me? It's stressful. I don't even know how the second half of the year is going to go because we're now in the house and I'm hoping that the stress will go away. But do I know that for certain? No. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the year. So I've learned that my coping mechanism when I'm stressed is to binge Ruby Dixon Alien Smart. Is it a good coping mechanism? No, but at least it's not drugs. So I've read a lot of Ruby Dixon. I've read a lot of manga and some novellas, and majority of my reading's been audiobooks. If it comes to just a physical book that I read without audio, I just read the book. I've probably read 5 books that way. I feel like I haven't taken things in as well as I would like. I feel like my videos haven't been as in-depth, and it does make me sad. 150 books isn't something I'm proud of. Some people congratulate it because I mean it is cool, but I just think, oh, why have I read so much Alien Smart? What am I doing? So I'm hoping in the second half of the year I don't read as much. I'm hoping to read less, be more in-depth, take the books in more. Because looking back, do I remember all 150 of these books? No, I don't. I don't remember them all. I mean, the Alien Smart ones is not really much to remember. I'll still read a lot of romance on audiobook because I have a job in the community, so I drive around a lot and I listen to audiobooks while driving. So I read a lot through work, but I'm hoping to be just a bit more in tune with the other things that I'm reading. In terms of my channel, my growth has been really slow this year, but I haven't been posting as much. And I'm not as proud of my video. Most of the time I'm this is kind of shit. I think my editing has gotten better, but I'm not as in depth with the books because again, I've been really stressed. And I haven't been able to do a lot of my theme vlogs, which I'm really hoping to bring back in this second half of the year. I've got another one reading around the world planned for next month, which I'm so excited because it's been a year since I've done one of those and I am so ready. They're my favorite videos to do, but they're very involved, which is why I just haven't been able to get one done, but I'm gonna get it done. I'm so excited. And I've got 700 subscribers at the moment, which I'm proud of. I think that's fucking awesome. I wanted to reach 1K this year. I don't think it's gonna happen just because it took me half a year to get 100 subscribers, which is really slow compared to I got 600 in my first year and it's been half a year and I've only got 100. So my growth has definitely slowed down, but I'm not super growth focused anymore. I was a bit at the start, but now I'm just I'm having so much fun and I just want my videos to be better quality. I mean, if people come along for the ride, that's awesome. If they don't, that's fine. And even 700, I had a bit of a anxious moment where I was that is a lot of people. I'm really scared and I'm stressing, and I think I really need to get a thicker skin going forward because I'm always worried, am I gonna get into some controversy? Is someone gonna hate me? Is someone gonna say nasty things to comment? I'm really stressed, which is hilarious because I'm such a bitch in my videos that I'm the kind of person that would start a controversy if I was gonna do anything of any importance on BookTube. So it's I'm just a big contradiction. Do I even know who I am? Because who I am doesn't seem to make any sense. Anyway, I don't know what's happening. Let's go to the questions because that's why you're all here. So first question is best book you've read so far this year. My favorite book is easily You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Kweke Emezi. My god. I have a vlog reading a Kweke Emezi's books, so I'll link it if you want to watch it. New favorite author. I loved all of those books. I just realized I put this plant where I want to hold the books and it's really inconvenient. But is it aesthetic? This is perfection to me. I loved this book. It's the first time, unless something tops it, but so far, if this ends up being my favorite book of the year, it's the first time a romance has been my favorite book of the year since I've been actively reading and making lists and stuff. So that's pretty freaking cool. Like when I was 14, all I read was Nicholas Sparks. So of course a Nicholas Sparks book was my favorite book of the year because that's all I read. We don't talk about that time anyway. So this is a romance, but it's like a literary romance. It's so weird to describe because it doesn't feel like a normal romance, but it is a romance. Like it focuses on a romance. I haven't read a lot of like literary romance. I mostly just read Alien Smart. So it's really cool to like read something like this, and I'm like, I think this is my shit because it combines like my favorite things, which is pretentious writing and smart. You know, they're like my favorite things to read about. So like, this is just my perfect book. So I don't even know how to talk about this because I feel like what actually happens in this is kind of a spoiler, and it is the best to just go in not knowing because I didn't really know when I read this, and I'm so happy I didn't know because it rocked my world. The experience of realizing what is happening is like awesome. So all I say is it's about this woman who married her like high school sweetheart, and then he died in a car accident, and then it jumps to the future and she's kind of trying to get back on the dating scene, and she ends up seeing this guy and she goes to stay with him at his family's like estate. I'm gonna leave it at that. Read it. I loved it for so many reasons. Like the romance itself is so good. Like I loved the romance, but also it talks about so much more. It's sort of about grief and when you loved someone that's now gone and allowing yourself to love again, and how that's not replacing them. It's just another stage in your life. You're loving someone else. And I think it's like that with so many loves. You're allowed to love again. And it's just beautiful and it's so well written. It's so gripping. I remember I was like halfway through and I read the rest in one sitting, and I remember it was like really late at night and I just wanted to keep reading, but I had to go to work. I feel like Quake Maisie's other books are like more literary, more meritable, there's more to talk about. This one's more like a romance, but I just loved it. So it's easily my favorite book of the year so far. Like nothing even touches it. I don't know, I just loved this book so much. Then the next one is best sequel you've read so far. I've actually read a decent amount of sequels. I've been really focusing on finishing off series, but I've also been starting a lot because let's not talk about it. But I think my favorite is Dracora by Lynette Noni. This book is bonkers. This series is actually such a big surprise. I'm reading it for my friend Sash and Ash's read along for this. I never would have picked this up without this, and I'm so happy I picked it up because it's actually just like such a good series. And I think more people need to get onto this because it's like, it's so good. So it's about this girl called Alex, and she's in our human world, and her parents are like really shit and neglectful, and they're like researchers, archaeologists or whatever they are, and they're going on this expedition, and so they've moved and she has to go to this new school while her parents leave. And while she goes to the new school, she ends up getting transported to this other world, and it's this like magical world. She goes to this like magical school and she plays a huge part in this world. And it's such a good like chosen one story. There's so many cute friendships. It's got great characters. There's so much creative elements to this. Like she goes on so many adventures and plot points. Like the first book's very like whimsical and fun, and then she just goes really hard. Dracora was insane. It was so clever. It was so cool. It plays around with like time travel, and it's one of the best times I've seen it done. I love the way that she did it. In the future impact the present because technically they've happened, and the like things from the past technically impact the future, and so things that happened in the past, it just blows your mind. It's so clever and it's just brilliant, and I just had such a great time, and I just feel like this book stands out so much from the rest. Like I've read the next one, Greyvale, and I really enjoyed that one too, but I just think Dracora is just like insanely good. Question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. I haven't really been keeping up with new releases. I know I did a video and I talked about a book in that I still think about. I just need to like look up the plot because I want to make sure I summarize it properly. But this, I don't know, there's something about this book that is just sticking out to me and I really want to read it. In the vein of The Pisces and the Vegetarian, Chlorine is a debut novel that blurs the line between a literary coming-of-age narrative and a dark, unsettling horror tale told from an adult perspective on the trials and tribulations of growing up in a society that puts pressure on young women and their bodies, a powerful, relevant novel of immigration, sapphic longing, and a fierce, defiant becoming. What? And I think like she wants to be a mermaid. Like she loves the water, and she wants to be a mermaid, and like the end of the synopsis is just, and she will do anything she can to make a life for herself where she can be free, no matter the pain, no matter what anyone else thinks, no matter how much blood she has to spill. I need to read this book. Question number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That has got to be We Didn't Think It Through by Gary Lonesborough. So if you don't know The Boy from the Mirror, she's one of my favorite YA contemporaries. It is adorable. And so I'm super excited about this next release. It is focusing on the social justice system in Australia. Gary Lonesborough is a First Nations author, and so he's focusing on what it's like for First Nations teens in Australia when it comes to social justice. I'm so excited. Question number 5 is biggest disappointment. That has got to go to Long Shot and Hook Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I talked about in a recent vlog. I love the books that I've read by Kennedy Ryan. I think I've read like 5. I cannot preface this enough. I really love the books I've read of hers. But these books, I just don't like. I think they're not my kind of book because they're focusing on very hard-hitting topics. Both of them have a lot of content warnings with them. They're very graphic, and I just don't know how I feel about that kind of thing in a romance book. Like, I don't really go to romance for that. I think she does handle it well, but I always just feel a bit weird when they're in like that kind of context. I don't know why. Like, I do like that she shows that people that have been through these things can love again and there's hope, which I really do love that message. I really love the message that they send, but the experience of reading them just isn't really what I'm looking for. And I am starting to find that her books are kind of similar in the beats that they hit. I think the characters are always really similar, and the way that they think about things and problem solve is very mature. And like the way that they talk is very mature. So it kind of gets a bit boring because I'm like, I really need a Kennedy Ryan book where she writes about a complete fucking mess, because all of her characters are so put together and mature, and like there'll be situations that are really messy and they just like talk it through so maturely, and I'm like, I need one of you to fuck up, okay? I need one of you to do something stupid and say something stupid and just fuck shit up. I'm getting sick of how mature these people are. I still am gonna read her books because again, I still love the ones that I had read, but these ones were definitely disappointing for me. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. Now, I'd probably put the Madoran Chronicles for this, but because I've already answered something with that, I'm gonna go with something else that has also been surprising, which was The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. I don't normally like these like traditionally published like cartoon cover books. They tend to be just like mediocre or flops for me, but I loved this book. Oh my god, I had so many butterflies. I remember reading this while driving around for work, and I just like didn't want to leave my car and like do my job because I just wanted to like quit my job and finish this book because it was so cute. I rarely get this kind of like butterflies, like visceral reaction out of romances, and it's what I look for, and I'm so annoyed it doesn't happen often, but it happened with this and I was not expecting it because again, I don't really tend to have it with these like illustrated new like contemporary romances coming out, but this was like, oh my god. And apparently the second one's even better, so I'm just like, what? So it's about this woman, and she was left at the altar for her wedding. She finds out that the guy's brother, which was the best man, said something to him the night before, drunk, that made the guy realize he didn't want to go ahead with the wedding, and so he bolted. And so she blames him and hates the best man. And she's like a wedding planner, so it's like a big slap in the face basically. And it goes to a few years in the future, and she is now trying to get a job at this company. She no longer wants to like do freelancing and stuff, and so there's like a trial between two people to get this job. They get buddied up with these two sons that work at the company. Of course it is these two brothers. She gets paired with the best man that she hates, and obviously they fall in love, and it's so cute. Oh my god. And I just loved it. I had so many butterflies. They're just the enemies to lovers, the slow burn. It just hit all of my beats and I loved it. It was so messy and chaotic and silly and cute, and it was just my kind of book. I just remember a scene where they're parked in front of flowers and they're like on the hood of the car, and it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever read. It was so good. I really like that a lot. And I'm shocked because again, I don't go into these books expecting much, and like, come on, that book slapped. My back's hurting. This is why I never film on the floor. But like, I have this cute little setup, but when I sit in a chair, you can't see it. So I might need to like put it on a box so you can see it in my videos and I can sit in a chair. Question number 7 is new favorite author. Like obviously Akwaeke Emezi, but again, I don't like to like double up just so I can talk about a bunch of things. So I'm gonna go with Ruby Dixon. Like, her books are not great, but I have to admit that she helped me get through a shitty time. Like, I was really not coping, and I just binged a bunch of her books, and they were a comfort me because I knew exactly what I was gonna get. They were so stupid and silly, and like, there's just so many of them. Like, you just know that you've got this endless supply of stupidity that's gonna make you feel better and distract you from the pain of real life. You know, the fact that she still makes them kind of interesting is an achievement because she's writing the same thing over and over and yet you still read them. So you got to give some credit. And I think just purely because she helped me so much, she's got to be like one of my new authors. Even though like generally I don't think her books are very good. Let's move on because I'm really embarrassed that I just said she's a new favorite author of mine. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. I've got to say Jessie Rose. Oh my god. So this is a historical romance by Beverly Jenkins, who is one of my favorites. And Jessie Rose. So like the premise of this book is that this guy who is in prison has been told that he might be able to be freed if he comes and becomes like a bodyguard for this woman who lives in a town where this guy is basically stealing everyone's land so that he can sell it and make money for railroads. But this chick is not letting go of her land, and her father's been murdered by that man, and so she is like holding onto her farm. And so he's been given the task to come and protect her, and he gets there thinking, oh my god, I've got to protect this damsel. And she's like, get out of the way! And she's like on the roof with a shotgun in a dress? Come on! Who is not in love with Jessie Rose? Like, you can't read that book and not finish it and not be in love with her. Like, oh my god. So yeah, honestly crushing hard on her. I know like a lot of people get to this question and they go, I don't crush on fictional characters. And I'm just like, listen, I've got a whole list. So like my honorable mention probably is the couple in the Saga comics. I'm in love with both of them. Oh my god. Like, do they have room in that marriage for me? Because like, I'm interested. Question number 9 is newest favorite character. I'm gonna go with Sarasa from Basara. So this is a like early 90s manga. It's like an apocalyptic story where Japan has mostly become desert and it's now ruled by these different kingdoms, and all of the rulers are basically really tyrannical. People are being murdered, turned into slaves. Like, Japan has gone really backwards. It's about this girl who grows up in this village. There is this prophet that believes that her brother is going to save everyone. Like, he's going to save the world. He's going to save Japan. Her brother ends up being murdered. And so Sasara ends up taking on his identity and pretends to be him. And it's about her trying to basically fulfill his destiny and save everyone. Because she's like, what the fuck have I got to lose? Like, literally he was murdered. The whole world is shit. All of Japan is horrible. People are suffering. So she just like takes all of that on. And it's such a good story because she suffers through it. Like, she isn't just one of those badass women that's just like cutthroat and doesn't give a fuck. Like, she is so sensitive and she feels the pain. There's so many scenes where she is just crying because she feels so sad. And like, she also mourns that she's not herself anymore. Like, she's losing who she is because she's becoming her brother. And she's like, I just want to, you know, be girly and silly. I don't want these responsibilities, but she still does it. And it's like, that is a brave, admirable character. The fact that she doesn't even want to do it. She's scared and she's sad and she's miserable, but she cares so much and she's so selfless that she gives that all up to help people. And there were also so many epic scenes in this manga that are honestly so ridiculous, where she's just a complete badass and just like does the unthinkable. And like, in reality, you're like, as if. But the way that this manga is drawn, you are just like fully there. And you're like, of course she just did that. Like, there's one scene where she is like blindfold battling this pirate on a gangplank. She falls and there are like sharks in the water, right? She falls into the water. This shark jumps up out of the water because she landed on the shark and stabbed her sword into it. And she's now riding this freaking shark through the sword that she stabbed him with while she fell in the water blindfolded. Like, are you kidding me? No way that actually could have happened. But I'm totally there for it. So there's just so many epic scenes of her just being incredible. And I'm like, I love her. She is like, she's just amazing. And she's like 16 or some shit. Like, as if. I just respect her so much. I think she's such an interesting character. And I think about her all the time. She's iconic. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. Now, I don't really cry reading. I can cry watching stuff. Like, I watched the D&D movie and cried. I cried the stupidest stuff, but I do sometimes cry. But I never cry reading. It just doesn't have that kind of reaction in me. So I'm just going to go with the book that probably made me the saddest. and closest to crying was probably Young Mungo. This is a literary fiction. It's a queer literary fiction and it's by a queer author. And this is definitely one of those books that fits into that like literary gay pain and trauma books, which I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about those. But like this was like heavily inspired by the author's life, I believe. And so it's like, I don't want to discredit the fact he felt like he needed to write this story. So I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about it, but either way, it was really sad. So it's about Mungo, who is this young boy living in Scotland. He's got a really awful life. His brother's in like a gang. His mother's an alcoholic that like leaves them all the time. So he's kind of being raised by his sister. And he is like really soft, sweet, quiet, kind boy. And his brother wants him to basically be macho and violent like him. So you really feel that he's in this very dangerous situation. And then he ends up becoming friends with this boy like on the other side of the street behind him in this like apartment complex, and they end up falling in love. And it's one of those books where it also jumps between timelines. So you've also got the future when we don't know what's happened, but Mungo has been sent on this like camp with these men that are out of prison that his mum sent him on, and that is very unsettling. So many content warnings for this. It's rough. It's really, really rough and sad. And I really felt like I could have cried reading this because it was so sad. And I felt really sad for Mungo because he was just a sweet little boy. And he just was in love with a boy, you know? And it was this cute little romance that they had, but everyone else ruined it. And I hate people. I do have a video coming out where I talk about that more, but has it come out yet? No, but it will. I'll get it up eventually. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy. I'm gonna go with Failed Princesses for this. I read volume 1 last year and then I read volume 2 to 7. I think there's 7 volumes. I love this series. It is so cute. I don't know if I recommend it just because I feel like it doesn't have the best message, especially in the first few volumes. So it's about a popular girl and like the unpopular girl that's ugly and geeky, and like the popular girl kind of like forces a friendship onto the other girl, and she's like, I'm gonna make you pretty, and so she changes her appearance. So like that's ick and I don't like it. But once you get past that, it's this beautiful like enemies to friends to lovers, and there's so much angst. One of them is so like kind of jealous, like if other girls are talking to the other girl, and it's like so cute. Like I normally don't like that, but in this it just was so, oh my god. And like there's so much angst and the artwork is beautiful, and it's just like so wholesome and sweet and just like such a nice girl love story. It's not like over sexualized. There's a few weird scenes, but like it's manga, so you know that just what comes with it, unfortunately. But like if you ignore all those bits, it's so cute. Question number 12, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Now technically I got this during the Boxing Day sale, so I don't remember if it technically arrived this year or not, but I've barely bought books this year and most of them are just like shit, like paperbacks. So I'm just gonna go with this book because I don't know, in my head I bought this year, and that is Gods of Want. This is really pretty. I don't own many hardbacks, but this is only in hardback at the moment. But are you kidding? This is so pretty. And I'm hoping to read this next month. So yeah, like it's a nice purple. I don't know. This book is very pretty. This is a short story collection that's meant to be kind of weird. So I'm excited. Question number 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's probably not much I need to read. I need to read Jade Legacy because I am co-hosting a read-along for this, so I do need to read this so that I can participate in that. This is a adult fantasy trilogy. Jade Legacy is the last book. I've heard it's really sad, so I'm terrified. So there's that. I do need to finish the Madoran Chronicles read-along. So we've got We Three Heroes, which is like a novella collection, and then Vardasia is the last book. So I do need to read those to participate. Every month or so, I'm going to do buddy reads on my Discord. So you're welcome to join. We're doing 7 days in June in July. For 7 days in July, we're going to be reading 7 days in June. It's really confusing to the point that I gave the wrong dates. I gave the June dates. So instead of being like Monday to Sunday, it's like Wednesday to Tuesday, which is really annoying. So yeah, they're kind of like books that I need to read, but there's nothing else I need to read. And then the last question is your favorite book community member. So there's so many and I don't really want to exclude anyone. Like I feel like if I like shout out a few people, there's going to be someone sad or feel hurt that they're not included. So I've picked 2 people that I don't feel like I've talked about a lot. So just know I love all of you. In my description is a video I did with 30 other booktubers where they all recommended a book. So everyone on there, I highly recommend my favorite people in the community. Just 2 random channels that I don't think I've really talked about a lot that I find I get a lot of book recommendations from. So I appreciate them in that regard, plus many other reasons. But a reason is that I feel like a lot of the books that I found this year have been from them. Like I haven't read a lot, if any of them, but they're books that I'd never heard of that I'm really interested in reading now. The first one is Aaliyah from The Library Dweller. Reads some books I've like never heard of. She's also the person that I got What We Feed to the Manticore from. I'd never heard of that till she talked about it, and it's one of my favorite books of the year. So she just like, I don't know, she finds books that I've never heard of that sound really cool. Her videos are actually really good quality. Like her vlogs are so cozy and lovely. And she's so soft-spoken, which I find I really appreciate soft-spoken booktubers. Like, I like booktubers that are calm and, like, relaxing to watch because, like, life is already stressful. I don't need a booktuber that's going to yell at me. The second one is Freddie from Sluggish Reader. I love his videos, but I also just, like, think he's hilarious because he sends me, like, memes and TikToks and whatever. And, like, sometimes they are the highlight of my day. You guys don't care about that. You care about his videos, and his videos are really good. He talks about books I've never heard of. He talks about a lot of translated fiction. So yeah, I always find so many books from his videos, and he is like so philosophical and intelligent. Like he'll read a random book and then he'll have like these really like thought-provoking in-depth thoughts that give you a crisis half the time. But like, how did you get that out of that book? Like, he should be a professor. He's one of those professors that will be like, the curtain was blue because they were sad. I just think he's clever and I trust his opinion, and he's also really calming. So those 2 are just 2 that I wanted to shout out that I don't think I've really mentioned much, because I really like them as people. I think their videos are really good quality. I think their thoughts are really interesting, and I always find books. So if you're looking for people that aren't reading what everyone else is reading, these 2 are really good. And also on that note, if you've done this, please let me know in the comments. I'd absolutely love to watch your video. I can't always get to all of them, so that's just a way for you to like reach out to me. I would absolutely love to watch your video. I'm gonna end this here. But yeah, thanks for coming on this journey with me. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna go away now and have a crisis about what I'm gonna do about this. I'm gonna fixate on that for the next few weeks and probably binge more Alien Smart because I'm gonna stress out about it. Okay, bye!